Well, good afternoon. It's been a difficult day today on Monday. As you know, we've made a decision to relieve Matt Wells of his role as head coach here at Texas Tech. I want to begin by thanking Matt Wells for his energy, his efforts representing our university and our program. Matt Wells is a very good man. Matt has worked extremely hard, and he has done good things here. Matt Wells always operates with integrity and great character, and I wish him only the best in the future. This group of assistant football coaches and support staff that are working with our football team is a great group of men and women. I have asked all of them to remain engaged and continue to lead and prepare this team for the 4 games we have remaining and to earn a 5th football game this season remaining. I want to say about the 10 assistant coaches that we have here at Texas Tech. These are great men. These are great men, and they're very good football coaches. I've thoroughly appreciated them and enjoyed getting to know them, and appreciate them continuing to stay here and to work with this football team in the games ahead. We have a talented group of young men on this football team. I had a chance to visit with them earlier today and have tremendous respect for them, how they represent our university every day and how they compete on Saturdays. We want each young man on this football team to be here and to stay at Texas Tech. And I told them that today. We want each and every one of them to graduate from Texas Tech. We have a lot to play for. This season is not over by any stretch. We're going to continue to fight these remaining 4 games, and we're going to do everything to earn a postseason opportunity. And when we earn that bowl invitation I shared with them today, we're going to celebrate with them, and we're going to have a great postseason experience. We will be led in the interim by interim head coach, offensive coordinator Sonny Cumbie. Red Raider Nation and Texas Tech students, we need your support now as much than ever. We need you to come support these young men in this football team. We need to pack the Jones for our last 2 home games this year and help this football team. Coach Cumbie, as all of you know, loves Texas Tech, and he will lead these young men and this staff beginning today. We're going to unify the Red Raider Nation by finding the ideal candidate to lead this program moving forward. I've assembled an expert group to assist me in this search. One, Dusty Womble. Dusty's synonymous with Texas Tech athletics. He's the single largest benefactor to Texas Tech athletics. Dusty has a drive and determination for excellence every day that extends from everything that he does, but also to Texas Tech athletics. He's been a great advisor and supporter of this program, of me, and Dusty's going to be involved in this search process and appreciate his continued leadership and support. Cody Campbell, former Texas Tech football letterman, former player in the National Football League, successful businessman, is going to also be a part of the search committee to help me in this search. Cody has great ties to Texas Tech, as many of you know. He played here at Texas Tech, but also his father played here at Texas Tech, and his great-granddad was on the first football team here at Texas Tech. And appreciate his involvement and willingness and leadership to be a part of this process as well. Sammy Morris is going to be a member of the search committee. Sammy, as all of you know, is a Red Raider, played 12 years in the National Football League, and has been on the staff for about the past 5 months as the Assistant Director of Player Development. He's going to be a great addition to assist in this process as well. All of you know Tony Hernandez, who serves as our Deputy Athletics Director. He will be highly involved and a part of the committee as well. And this group working together, we will ultimately make a recommendation to President Skuvenek related to the next head football coach at Texas Tech. I appreciate President Skuvenek's leadership and engagement and involvement. We talk multiple times every week. His involvement, leadership, engagement for Texas Tech athletics and the importance of this role is appreciated, and I appreciate his continued leadership and support. We have so many things to be proud of here at Texas Tech. We have a passionate fan base. We have some of the most passionate and supportive fans in this entire country. Our attendance this year has been tremendous. Our tailgate concert series that we've introduced this year has been a great success. The energy, the enthusiasm, the attendance outside of Jones AT&T Stadium each and every Saturday has been great. I appreciate our external teams led by Robert Giovanetti for their hard work on generating this atmosphere for our football program and all those that have attended. Our student tailgate experience this year has been a great success. Our student body has moved all of their tailgates to the old Coliseum space, set up tents, had musical acts. Their attendance has brought so much energy to Jones AT&T Stadium this year. I appreciate the continued energy and support of our student body. Texas Tech football has tremendous opportunities to offer as we continue to move forward. A couple of weeks ago, October 8th to be exact, we announced the single largest gift and investment into our football program when Dusty Womble and the Womble family committed the leadership gift to establish the Womble Football Center. It's going to be the largest football facility, square foot wise, team center in the nation. The impact it's going to have on recruiting, on player development is going to be significant. Our commitment to Texas Tech football is a primary area of focus for us moving forward. We stated that on October 8th, and that's going to continue to be the case as we continue to move forward. We have a great program. The commitment's there. It's a primary focus. The support is there. Significant investment continues at the highest level that we've ever experienced for Texas Tech football. I'm extremely confident and bold that that investment's going to continue from the Red Raider Nation. We have a great tradition. We still rank in the top 20 in the nation for bowl game appearances. And here in the great state of Texas, we have access to the top high school college prospects in this country that play Texas high school football. We're going to do everything that we can to make Texas Tech football great in every aspect. So with that, I will pause and be happy to open it up for questions.
Kirby, given that there are 4 games left in the season, all against ranked opponents, what made today the right day to make this move, given the disruption that it causes with the most difficult part of the schedule upcoming?
There's really no ideal time to make a decision like this. I think as we looked at the 30 games that Matt Wells led us and the 13-17 record, the 7-16 record at conference, the fact that we were 0-2 in home games this year from a conference perspective, there's not a good time to make a decision, to make a change like that. But just given where we were, and you looked at the full body of work and the program collectively, we felt it was inevitable, and today was the day that we wanted to move forward.
And given that some of the possible candidates that could be considered, especially with the success of some other programs in Texas this year, some other schools being undefeated in Texas, did that accelerate your process so that you could be first on the doorstep, so to speak, for some of those other potentially hot coaches out there?
You know, it's a fair question, Don. I don't want to speculate at all about, you know, what candidates will or will not be of interest to the committee and that we will reach out to. I do believe that making this decision at this time allows for all speculation to end on if there was going to be a change, and it allows us to move forward with our process. You know, this is all, you know, transpired since this morning. We as a committee, I've spoken to each individual individually, but we've not had a chance to connect as a group yet. We will be doing so here, I would expect, in the next 48 hours, but to speculate further, Don, I don't think would be appropriate right now.
What is your expectation or hope for a hiring timeline?
Well, I think it's unknown. We will begin immediately, and with that being said, we know that if all teams extend their season until November the 27th for the regular season, so it's going to be unknown as far as our timeline, but we will begin on it immediately and take our time and work through it until we find the right individual to invite to lead this program.
Kirby, when did you guys inform Coach Wells about y'all's decision?
This morning. I met with Coach Wells. It was approximately 10:30 this morning.
You mentioned, and this is never easy, but in years past, you've told us, you'd like to reevaluate at the end of the year. I know you kind of covered it a little bit, but was that just not feasible in the current state of this?
Again, David, I think just looking at the collective work, 30 games, where we were at this point in the season. Last year was an extremely difficult year for everybody, college football included. It was a COVID year. We really, as I think we talked about, we wanted to let this staff and this program experience a complete year of an off-season program, and it just, unfortunately, it became evident that this decision today needed to happen. You're right. Typically, you'd like to let the season play out and to evaluate. I've said that before. In an ideal world, that's where you would be, but this did not feel like it was ideal, and it felt like the right decision to make today at this time for Texas Tech athletics, and that's what President Skuvinek charges me to do every day, to make the very best decisions that I can, recommendations to him for this football program and for this athletics department.
Don mentioned it, a tough stretch here. Is there a possibility, I know you're not going to get into candidates, but is there a possibility that Sonny could earn the head coaching job?
Yeah, again, we collectively as a committee with the 4 individuals that I mentioned, we've not had a chance to communicate yet, but wouldn't that be a great situation and a great conversation to have in front of us if that were to be the case. So, again, don't want to speculate. What I do know is that this is a talented group of young men. I believe we're a good football program. I believe we're better than what we've played in some games this year. And, I've had a chance to talk to a number of the football players one-on-one today, and I appreciate their resolve and their determination and their agreement that, there's still a lot to play for with these last remaining 4 regular season games.
And I know you can't go with a timeline, but how important is it to get something resolved fast? I know, recruiting-wise is what I mean. This is an odd situation that's never happened before, and you got to try to keep those players that could potentially show up here on board. Yeah,
you always want to move as quickly as you can, but take as much time as you need to as well. And we got to get this right. Bottom line, we have got to get this right for Texas Tech athletics and Texas Tech University. If that takes, up until mid-December, we take until mid-December. If we can find the ideal candidate before that, then we'll move when we all feel confident that we have the very best recommendation to make to President Skuvinek.
Hey, Kirby, what qualities will the ideal candidate have? Like, what are you looking for?
You're looking for a winner, somebody that can come in here and get us over the hump. I feel like, again, Coach Wells has done many good things during his time here. He is a great man, and I think he's done good things. We've got to get over that. We've got to take that next step. We've got to get over that next edge, and we need somebody with that determination and knowledge and ability to get this program to that next level. We haven't been there in quite some time. We all know it. We get frustrated with it because we know what we're capable of, and we're not going to back away. I get people that will talk to me about, hey, you use the word elite. You know what? Yeah, dang right we want to be elite, and that's not going to change. Are we there now? No, we're not, but that's not going to knock us off of that vision. That day when I stop talking like that, that's when we have issues and we have a concern. If we're not striving to be elite, if we're not striving to get to the level that our basketball, our track, our golf, our baseball, our basketball teams have been, then shame on us. That's one thing that I'm not going to allow us to fall back and to step away from those expectations to do everything that we can to be great. And we've proven it. You can be there in football. The fact that we're still top 20 in the country for bowl game appearances, we've been number 2 in the country before. We can do it again here at Texas Tech. We just got to take that next step, and we've got to find that individual that can bring that missing piece of what's not there to allow us to take that step.
Back when Wells was hired, I remember he was your pick. He was your guy, and you were very confident that he was going to be able to take Tech to the elite level. Obviously, it didn't work out, and the era is over. In your opinion, what happened? Why didn't Wells work out here?
Yeah, I make decisions every day. I wish I knew all the answers to that question, Jared. I think it's definitely a fair question and one that I've spent a lot of time thinking about. Again, I think Matt Wells did a lot of the things right. The performance on the field just did not match our expectations. I think we saw glimpses of it. Houston, Texas, I saw glimpses of a team that could be great, that had a grit and had a determination to take that step. There are other games where you didn't see that same type of success. So with that being said, Matt did a lot of good things here. He's assembled some really talented football players here, some great young men, a work ethic that I believe in these kids and what they're doing each and every day, these young men. We're not able to take that next step, and that's my responsibility. That's what I'm held responsible for every day, and when you're not there, we're going to change course and find it.
Kirby, you've mentioned the decision was made over these 30 games total, but you said it became inevitable here recently. What was the final straw? What were one of those final things that you knew the decision had to be made?
Yeah, I don't know if you can point to one thing in particular. Again, I felt like we showed progress at times this year that I felt so good about, and then there were games where we didn't. And we've got to get to that consistent level of performance week in and week out. And so I'm not sure that there was one moment. Again, it was a collective review, a collective discussion of, 30 games, but then also, the 8 that we've played this year.
And when you look at those 8 specifically there, it's going to be a matter of who you play and whatnot, but what did you think were some of the things like, and you said the consistent play, but this is the best record Coach Wells has had so far, getting to those 5 victories, but what did you think was lacking in that?
Again, I would say without answering your question directly, because I don't want to start going game by game in this type of setting, but there's no ideal time to make a decision like this. When you arrive at that point as a athletic director and you make a recommendation to the president, I'm not sure there's one particular game. It's not a one game review. It's not, a one situation. It's a collective body of work. And, unfortunately, when I arrived at that place, Dr. Skuvenik and I had many conversations and felt like this decision today was inevitable. And at that point in time, it's only fair to move forward.
And I know David asked about Coach Cumbie just in general as far as him getting the interim job and everything, but specifically, why did you think he would be the good choice, at least for these final 4 games, over someone like a Coach Patterson who's been here for a few years or someone like that?
Yeah, fair question. And you remember that Coach Patterson was our interim last year when Coach Wells was out for COVID for the Kansas game. I just felt that where we are today, Coach Cumbie was the best option to serve as the interim for the overall team. He loves Texas Tech, not that the other assistant coaches do not, but being a former player, Sonny brings a high level of energy and experience for Texas Tech to the table, and I felt just that collectively he was the right man to ask to serve in that role for the remainder of the season. I'm sorry, Chuck, you had a question, and
yes, I wanted to know if Coach Wells was surprised by the decision today.
I mean, probably keep that conversation between he and I, but yes, he was surprised and obviously didn't agree with the decision. So, but I'd leave it at that.
Going off of that, you mentioned finding the right fit. What does the right fit look like for the next head coach?
Yeah, right fit for the next head coach. Good question. I believe if possible, you want to seek somebody that has strong state of Texas ties, somebody who knows this state, knows recruiting landscape. The recruiting landscape continues to change, as all of you know, with the transfer portal, but still the ability to go into Texas high schools and have a relationship there and to be able to recruit and to sell West Texas and everything that Texas Tech has to offer would be important to us. Again, there's a lot of ways that you can claim experience with the state of Texas. You recruited Texas, but I think somebody with very strong state of Texas ties would be an ideal candidate for us.
Then going off of Chuck's question a little bit, what have your conversations been like with the players and what's their reaction been to all of this?
Yeah, again, we got a talented group of young men that I have the utmost respect for. What they do is not easy. They go to school, they come to practice, they live in a fishbowl, especially in today's social media world. They're in a fishbowl every day, and I can't imagine doing what they do on this stage in this type of environment. It takes a very special young man to be able to balance all of those things. And I feel like I've got a good relationship with those young men. I hope they trust me. I believe they do. Had a conversation with them today and told them we would have another one next week. That obviously we got a big game to prepare for on Saturday, but during our bye week, I want to have the opportunity to sit down with them and to have a conversation about where this program is today, where this program is going. I want their perspective. I want the good, the bad, and the ugly from them in that locker room, and I just trust that we'll be able to have that conversation. So, today's been a hard day, and especially for those players. They didn't sign up for this, and it's hard. And my heart goes out for them, and my commitment to them is to make sure we find that missing piece, whatever's missing to get us to that next level. That's what I'm committed to them to do.
And you mentioned why Sonny was your choice to lead the team these next 4 games. What are your expectations for him in these last 4 or 5 games?
The same as all of the men that continued in this interim role, is to provide a great experience for these student athletes. It's all about these young men. It's all about the 115 young men that are in this locker room, and to make sure we prepare them, that we give them every chance to go out these 4 last Saturdays and to get in the fight, to fight to the end, and get a chance to earn a postseason opportunity, and just to be there for them.
Hey, Kirby, a couple questions based off you talking about it being vital to get the right guy this time, especially with what's coming ahead, the new conference shifts and everything. How much does that play into making sure you have a guy that is the leader going into that?
Well, bottom line is it's always important to make sure you have the right individuals leading your programs. We are living through conference realignment. We all know that football is the driver in that conversation, and we know we have so much to offer from a university standpoint. We're a large public university that has over 40,000 students. We have some of the most passionate fans throughout the state of Texas. We're not an 806 area code university. Our alumni base is the strongest in the Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Houston markets. We have so much to offer to the Big 12 Conference and our future television partners. So that's always going to be important, and there's nothing more important to make sure you have a strong, healthy football program. So again, to your point, you make a good point. I emphasize it that it is so important that we continue to take steps to get our football program as healthy as we can be and as competitive on the national stage as we can be. And again, I still think we can take a couple of steps forward this year. We're at 5-3, and we've got 4 great opportunities in front of us, and I know we're not going to give any of them away. We're going to show up every Saturday, and these young men are going to give everything they have, and we're going to be there to support them.
And the second one kind of ties back to Jared mentioning that Matt was your guy 3 years ago. Do you feel, I don't know if pressure is the right word, do you feel like this needs to be the guy this time to get you through that, over that hump?
Oh, I put more pressure on myself every day than anybody can put on me. I'm going to make the best decisions for Texas Tech athletics every day and do what I believe is right. You look up here in our guiding principles: do the right thing, win every day. That's what we're going to do, and nobody's going to put more pressure on me than I put on myself. I want to win. I want to be competitive. I love to see young men celebrate, young women celebrate after success, and it cuts me to the core when we don't and we're not at the level that we want to be at. And it cuts these young men at the core. It cuts this coaching staff at the core. And I know our fan base is passionate, and it's bothersome to them as well. But, that's why as we go forward, we've got to find somebody that can come in and unify this fan base, unify this community, to get behind this football program like never before, and to just, it's hard to win. It is hard to win at this level. And we've got to be unified. We've got to have a leader that's going to bring everybody together and instill that belief. We're not going to be hopeful that we can win. We've got to believe that we can win, and we've got to find that right leader to come in and take us forward. As for me, I'm putting more pressure on myself every day to make this a successful football program than anybody could ever imagine, and that's not going to change.
I know you said you evaluated the whole body of work, but was there anything in particular about how that Kansas State game played out and how the team lost that led you to make the decision when you did?
It was just it was a part of the entire evaluation. Again, it wasn't one game. It wasn't anything to do with the Kansas State game. The Kansas State game was a part of the complete evaluation. So these young men fought their tails off on Saturday. They were gutted. It hurt them as much as it hurt all of us. That was a game we shouldn't have lost. I know it. You know it. Those young men know it. We shouldn't have lost that game on Saturday. But you are what your record says you are too. And when you walk off the field and you get beat 25-24, you got beat. But I still believe, line up and play them again, we're the better team. But, the good thing is we got 4 more opportunities to line up and to compete this year. That's what we'll do.
All right, we'll go to some Zoom questions real quick, and we'll go to Chuck Carlton.
Yes, Kirby, you've talked about the missing piece a couple of times. The last 3 football hires have been a successful former SEC head coach, a hot assistant with strong ties to Tech, and then Matthew King, who was successful in the group of Conference. What do you see as missing? I mean, you kind of covered the landscape with those last 3 hires. What do you guys need, and why has it been so hard to get Tech over the hump?
Well, Chuck, first, good afternoon, and second, it's a good question, and I wish I had the bottle of success to be able to accurately answer it. I think more than the individual's background, I think as much of it is just the day-to-day psyche and confidence within this program to take that next step. And it is hard to take that next step. Football, like other sports, but football is different. There is not another sport that is as physically violent and as physically demanding as the game of football. and it's 60 minutes of an all-out battle, and you've got to believe in yourself that you're going to be successful. And it's not just in one phase of the game. You got to believe that you're going to be successful in all three phases, and you got to have the right group of staff and assistants and men around you to build and to mold these young men every day. So again, I'm not sure if it's the individual's experience. I think it's the culture, the environment within the building that we've got to continue to build. And with that being said, right, it's about recruiting. And I think we've got to continue to recruit. I think Coach Wells has done a good job at assembling talent. I look at the transfer portal and the decisions he made related to that. He's brought in some great young men that are a part of this program that are very good football players that have more than 1 year of eligibility. So I think we've got to continue to recruit, and I think we've got to continue to evaluate all aspects of the football program. It's not just the individual's background or what they bring to the table. I think it's everything from A to Z that we got to continue to look at and invest in.
Go to Max Olson.
Hi, Kirby. Two questions for you. First one, at the end of last season, in your conversations with Coach Wells about the direction of the program, was there an expectation set for how this season needed to go? And I guess is that part of this evaluation through 8 games?
Yeah, I mean, we evaluated the program last year. It was a very unusual year, as we know, with COVID. And then, the expectations are to show progress, and progress over perfection. And progress can be measured in a lot of different ways, not just wins and losses. Progress is measured on how you compete each and every Saturday. And, at the end of the day, we just felt like the evaluation through 8 games in the previous two seasons led us to make this decision today that we believe is in the best long-term health and decision for Texas Tech football.
And then secondly for you, when you look at this program and your aspirations for it, do you feel like, obviously this team has a chance to get to a bowl game, do you feel like that's the starting expectation every year, that this program should be going to bowl games every year and competing in 5?
I'm sorry, Max, the last part was going to bowl games every year and then a lot.
Trying to be relevant in the top 25.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Should this football team go to bowl games every year? Absolutely. Should we be in the top 25 in the country? Absolutely. And that's where we belong. We haven't been there, and we're going to get back there. That's exactly the expectations for this program, and to be relevant and to compete in November. And that's not going to change.
Go to Skylar Dixon and then Sam Kahn to wrap with Zoom.
Hey Kirby, is Art Briles a viable candidate in this search?
Skylar, I don't want to speculate on candidates. I don't want to talk about individuals today. I think that would be very divisive and problematic, and not something that we would talk about at this time.
We'll go to Sam Kahn.
Hey Kirby, you mentioned the transfer portal. I'm curious, what did you think about how much it was utilized, and are you comfortable with how much it was utilized under Coach Wells?
Yeah, Matt and I talked a lot about the transfer portal. Again, I think he did a very good job in managing it. It's a balance, right? It's a balance with player development and getting experience on your roster. And I think Matt believed he made the best decisions, and I supported the decisions that he made as far as the balance there with high school and transfer portal. These are great young men that they've brought into this program. Standing here, I'm don't hesitate to say he batted 1,000 on the transfer portal as far as character and young men that have come in and contributed to this football program. But each coach is going to have a little different philosophy. At the end of the day, we all know how vital recruiting is to the success of a program, and each coach is going to have their own philosophy. But I believe it's a balance. I believe that there's opportunities that the transfer portal offers that if you're not engaged in that space, if you're not monitoring that space, then you're going to get left behind in a certain segment of your program development. But, obviously you've got to continue to recruit and to develop high school prospects and talent. So I think it's a balance, and I always supported, Matt's approach to recruiting high school and transfer portal.
And you mentioned obviously strong Texas ties being a preferable trait for the next head coach. Do you have any, or will the committee have any conversation or contact with, I guess, the Texas High School Coach Association, for instance, and how coaches are received by that group when it comes to hiring?
We will definitely talk to high school football coaches. We've got great relationships with many of them, reaching out to the Texas High School Football Coaches Association. If that's something we feel like they could offer perspective on, various candidates or a topic in particular, we would not hesitate to do that. Y'all know Texas High School Football Coaches Association is a strong, vibrant organization. We've always enjoyed a great relationship with them, and nobody impacts a young person's life more than a Texas high school football coach, and so those relationships are important. And we will definitely talk to some individually, and if there's anything the high school association can lend to us as a committee, we would not hesitate to reach out to them.
We'll finish with one final question from Don.
Kirby, in years past, you hired Cliff, you hired Matt, both of whom have stellar images. Has that been a possible, blind spot in your handling of coach hirings that a coach has to meet a certain, not that it's not desirable, but that a coach has to meet an almost impeccable public image for you to consider him?
I want to win. We want to win, period. It might be where I should stop there, Don. But we expect to play by the rules. We expect to follow the rules and to operate within the spirit and integrity of college football and college athletics. But at the end of the day, winning is important, but we're not going to compromise on the other values that we have in winning every day and building success on top of success. So we expect to operate with integrity and to abide by the spirit of the rules, but at the same time, you can do both. You can do both and win, and that's what we're going to do.
And also, one more regarding the committee. Since you've named 4 individuals who are going to assist you in the search this time, much was made last time that you really zeroed in on Matt and had obviously a ton of conviction when you hired him and did so quickly. Do you wish that you had? Would you reconsider that, given the circumstances today, and get more input from a group of people?
Well, Don, no. There's been a lot said about that process, and some accurate, some not accurate. But again, I'm not going to make a decision for Texas Tech athletics of any nature, any level of importance that I don't believe is the right decision to make. So, we've got a great group. I'd say a group of experts surrounding me this time. It's critical that we get this right. And I think through their counsel, leadership, and involvement, then it's going to only strengthen and assist in the process today. So, again, I appreciate all their willingness to help and to be involved and look forward to working with them.